Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome back. That was St. Francis, Oklahoma, Tulsa Tough. Well, wait, no. St. Francis, Tulsa Tough in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 3-day long America Criterium Cup race series that has broken me. It was so hot. Oh my God. It was like 85, 90, 95, 7,000 degrees. Oh my God. I'm just broken. I got in a few hours ago and laid down, tried to get a little bit of sleep, failed miserably. But I'll sleep all right after the stream tonight. That's for damn sure. That's a little bit of Insta360 Go footage. I've got like not a lot, but like just enough. I've got just enough HD footage to do like a little edit, and you'll see some stuff coming to my Instagram. So head over there. CiottiFPV.com has a link to my Instagram and all kinds of other really good stuff. If you want to support me, if you like this live stream and would like to see it continue, I need everybody to do a little bit of something. Click thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. But the best thing you could possibly do is go to the website. Patreon is the best possible way to help me out. $3 a month. That's like 10 cents a day. At some point, I'll save you from buying something that's like $50. Hook a brother up. Send some of that back my way, and I'll keep saving you stuff that costs $50 or maybe $100. Yeah, click some buttons. Book some of my time through Fiverr. Buy something from my Etsy store, my Teespring store. Change your bookmarks over to my affiliate link so that you don't have to try to remember to click an affiliate link every single time you order from any number of those different websites that are there. Yeah, do something and I'll keep doing something. So yeah, crazy few days. Friday at 4 a.m. I woke up and hauled ass to the Atlanta airport, flew out to Tulsa, got a ride from the airport directly on site, set up, start flying, start testing, start covering the like intermediate. I gotta learn. I gotta learn the terminology a little bit more. There's like there's the pro men, pro women's. I think there's maybe even like pro 1, pro 2, but then there's tons of other races that go on during the day. I don't know if I don't know what the word is for them, but the folks that aren't as fast as the pros. And then yeah, first live stream was Friday night. By the way, the live streams are over on Tulsa Tough. They're all up. There's even like some recaps. This recap is pretty slick. Look at this. 2 seconds into the recap, and they're playing FPV drone footage from your gangly buddy. Yeah, this crew. So Tulsa Tough is, I think you can say that it's the biggest criterium race in the U.S. It's 3 days, It's all in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's all roughly in the same area, but 3 completely different racetracks. That means that the TV crew and the TV truck and everything has to show up, get all the way set up. We put the show on, get broken all the way down, set all the way back up, another show, break it down, set it back up, another show, break it up. It's ridiculous. One of the I think one of the crew guys said that he wasn't going to get finished until 2 a.m. the one night, and then his call time was 4 a.m. I was like, bro, you're going to die. How are you going to do that? It's insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. These guys run, I think the director Tony said 8,000 feet of cable, fiber op to all the static cameras, and then they pick it all up and they do it all over. They do that 3 times. They do that 3 days in a row. It's ridiculous. Really just crazy group of people. World-class folks, though. Guys that are working for ESPN, Fox Sports, on the regular. It's really it's humbling as hell to work with. So when I did National Cycling League, they brought in same kind of deal, like a really high-end crew, and it's just super humbling to work with people that are on that level. And yeah, to be able to be, trying to figure out how to say this without sounding like an asshole, but like it's one thing to work with that caliber of people, but for them to then like be like, dude, oh my god, how do you do that? That's insane. You're amazing. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. A lot of that is just because FPV is kind of that cool and that new and that fresh and really a perfect fit for this, right? Like you've got a pack of cyclists shoulder to shoulder drafting each other. There's body language. There's like little elbows here and there. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And they're going 30, 40 miles an hour for 40 minutes or 50 minutes or an hour. And so, like, how do you cover that, right? Like a static camera up on a platform, which is what they've always done, right? Like, it can't get the detail inside of that, what's called the peloton. The group, when you see a big group of riders, that's called the peloton. And, like, FPV is just the perfect thing to carry a camera to tell that story, right? There's a story going on there. This is a professional sports series. These riders don't necessarily love each other, and then there's teams, and so like the teams are working together. The rivals are maybe being a little bit harder on each other, and like FPV is the only way to drop a camera that can look damn near straight down on them to see all of that stuff that's kind of going on, and then for the announcers to be able to kind of tell that story. And so a lot of it is because of that. FPV just happens to be the perfect way to kind of show this very specific thing. It's great that they've found somebody that's been doing this for a long time that can do it safely and really get the camera in there. Tulsa Tough. So roughly 4 years ago, one of the main announcers, Brad Soner, amazing guy, one of the coolest people that I've met like in my life. He found out about FPV. So he's not just the announcer. He's involved in he's deeply involved in the America Criterium Cup. Criterium is this form of racing, this form of cycle racing where it's a circuit, right? You've got cycle racing where it's like Tour de France, where it's point A to point B. Total nightmare to try to film that, right? And then this is criterium racing, which is circuit racing. And Brad has been deeply involved in criterium racing for a long, long time. And he found out about FPV. He had this vision of being able to tell the story, especially like as an announcer, right? And he figures out about FPV, realizes it's perfect for it, and somehow finds me. And so he brought me on to the Anniston race in Anniston, Alabama, Sunny King Criterium. I think it was 4 years ago, and he was just blown away. He had this vision, and I perfectly delivered on that vision, and he absolutely loved it. And ever since then, he goes to bat for me like no one has, other than maybe like my parents. Like he talks to everybody about FPV and me, and really pushes people hard to get me out there. And he's been trying for 3 years to get me to get the Tulsa Tough organization to bring me out. They've always had a local team in Oklahoma who I got to meet and work with, who were phenomenal. Such good, mainly photography drone pilots, but they also dabble in Avatas, as well as Jeff has a GEP-RC Cinelog, I think he said. But they're mainly photography drone pilots, and they are unbelievably good at what they do. Previous years, they've actually been flying an Inspire around. They're 400 or 500 feet up, looking straight down, and they were doing dual op with an Inspire, and it's amazing. It's such an amazing. They're good enough to track. I've worked with photography drone pilots before at these events. None of them have held a candle to this team that I got to work with this weekend. And this weekend they were actually doing single op with a Mavic 3 because the Inspire is getting a little older. And they did an incredible job. It was so cool to work with such a talented crew of photography drone folks. And I forget where I was going with this. I'm shot, guys. I am so fucking tired. Oh my god! Friday night into Saturday, I slept 11 hours straight. It was insane. Right. So yeah, that team has been working with them for many years, with Tulsa Tough for many years. 2 years ago, they got a local FPV pilot that flies an Avata2, maybe Avata1, whatever was out 2 years ago. But he was not a very seasoned FPV pilot, and he didn't really want to like get the shots that I get. He was like hanging back really far, and the truck didn't really take many of those shots. The top down shot is much more interesting than like being all the way at the back of the peloton just looking at a bunch of butts. And then last year, I think they either got the same person or maybe they got somebody else. Same kind of deal. They were doing an Avata 2. And I think the main problem that they had last year is they were complaining a lot about the wind and they didn't feel safe being pushed around by the wind so much. And same kind of deal. They, you know, the vision of having a camera that looks closely at the Peloton and at these riders and provides like a really, really interesting camera angle. It wasn't it. These Avata pilots were not able to do that. Brad finally convinced them to bring me out this year, and they were blown away. Like every time that I've worked with in these criterium races, every time that I've worked with a new crew, a crew that hasn't seen me before, they just freak out. They're like, this is ridiculous. Like, how is this guy doing this? Which is super interesting that like these TV crews haven't really seen FPV at all, because I'm not doing anything that nuts. I mean, like, I guess a little bit, but you know, like I'm yeah. And yeah, again, this time, like they were just the mental picture of what they wanted is exactly what I gave them. And they were just blown away. They were so happy to finally like have that, because they've been looking for it and they just, you know, didn't listen to Brad. Unfortunately, they could have had me for the last couple of years. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes. You can't, ain't nobody got a crystal ball, right? And yeah, it was really, really, really cool. All like the top dogs, all like the most important people at some point found me and they were just like, dude, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, this was incredible. This is exactly what we've been looking for. I'm already booked for next year, which is great. And yeah, three solid days of just, you know, storytelling, man. Like, it's so cool to be able to not just have it be like a race where it's like, oh, he passed him, all right, and now he's passing him, and now she's passing her, and like, and to be able to, you know, especially for the announcers, right? Like the announcers, they're doing, I mean, there's like 4 or 5 hours of announcing, but like the pro men and pro women's are basically an hour each. They got to talk for 2 hours, right? And so for them to be able to like build a story is yeah, that's where the money is, and that's what next time you're watching a live broadcast, notice that there's live broadcasts where they just, and the count is 3-2, here comes the big pitch, strike, he struck him out. Next batter is Bing Bong McFarley Pants. Versus like live broadcasts where they're, you know, this batter's parents flew over from Ghana and when he was 4 years old, you know what I mean? Like, notice that, and that's, you know, that's what's interesting, right? Like, we want story time, we want depth, we don't just want like the same thing over and over again. And for me to be able to help them do that is, it's such a fucking honor, man. It's like, yeah, I'm a really, really, really lucky guy. I'm super lucky that Brad found me, and that he's just such an incredible human being to like go to bat for me and like to push year after year after year to get me to Tulsa Tough, right? Like, Tulsa Tough could have hired anybody. They could have probably found an FPV pilot way more local than me that could have had similar gear, and could have done a very decent job. I would love to think that for Criterium Racing, I'm sort of like the best FPV pilot, mainly because I've been doing it for 4 years and I've like specifically built these rigs to do exactly this, right? Like these rigs that I fly are literally exactly built for these specific speeds, to be as light as possible, to deal with crosswinds as best as possible, right? Like every decision that I've made, from like the frame selection to props to motors to battery to all the testing that I've done, like it's all been for this, right? Like it's all been for Criterium Cup. And it's a pretty specific kind of thing. Like these riders go a very specific speed between like 20 and 40 miles an hour. There's almost always wind, and it's almost always for some reason a cross breeze. So like a frame that is as unobstructed as possible, right? Like the box frames, like that's the way to go. An Avata2 is not the way to go with a big tall duct around the outside, right? And so yeah, it's so cool to be a part of this. And yeah, like I said, I'm super lucky. It's been super hard work, right? It's not just luck, but as with most awesome things, there's a lot there's been a lot of luck there, and yeah, that's pretty rad. Hey, by the way, anybody have a GoPro Hero 8? If you have a Hero 8, I've got an extra little battery door, and I've even got a little 3D printed battery door with a hole cut out in it for a little USB if you want to power it without the battery. And I've also got a Hero 8 battery, and I don't have a Hero 8 anymore. So if anybody has a Hero 8, I'll sell you these cheap. Contact info is over on CiottiFPV.com. Let me play some of the Insta360 Go footage for you, beautiful bastards. Yesterday? What does that mean? Why will this not let me? Come on. There it goes. Yeah, this is just going to be raw here. This is going to be right out of the camera. There's Bimo from Hattie B's. He's a cyclist. So Bimo from Hattie B's. Hattie B is an awesome chicken restaurant. He found the live stream. He found out about FPV. Found the live stream. Booked like a half an hour of my time. I forget what it was. Through Fiverr. To basically like ask me how to get started. Like he wanted to get started, and he wanted to do it right and not waste money. And so we spent a bunch of time during that phone call. I was like, man, this guy's super cool. He'd mentioned that he was going to be down in Atlanta. And so we started texting back and forth. He had me out to one of his new Hattie B locations here. Gave Maggie and I a whole bunch of food. Awesome. Super, super, super cool guy. I got to hang out with him and his wife, Misty, at this event. It turns out, so we've been talking ever since then, and I'd mentioned Tulsa Tough, and he's like, dude, I've been wanting to go to Tulsa Tough forever. He's a cycle. He follows the cycle racing, and he also rides. And so he was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go. Misty and I are just gonna go. This is the perfect excuse if you're gonna be there for me to go. So he met up with us. He actually did one of the rides Saturday morning. And yeah, we hung out last night and just had a blast. Just a super cool guy. It was awesome to see him. But yeah, there's him. He was hanging out with me for a little bit on Friday at the truck. Will these auto play? So yeah, in the intro, so this is day one, and there was this big, beautiful building here that I was trying to time and nail this move for a while. And of course, when I had the Insta360 Go 2 on here, I was not able to get it clean. I did get it clean once, but I have no evidence of that. There is evidence in the TV truck. They record everything that I send them. But DJI does not allow you to record in the goggles when you're sending video through the smart controller, which is absolutely insane. But hey, apparently they've now fixed that with 04. So next year I'll have hours of 4K footage. But yeah, what makes timing that damn near impossible is that the riders are going a different speed pretty much every lap. Like, they're not always standing up and pedaling hard. Like, they'll chill and they'll be like 25 to 30 miles an hour, and then they'll push and they'll be like 35 to 40, or they'll be somewhere in between from like 30 to 35. So like every single time they come around, it's a little bit different. This is So this is sort of my zone that I was covering. This racetrack is almost a figure eight. It's over turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6, 7, and then start finish line. So this is turn 6. My bread and butter was between turn 6, 7, and then the start finish line until thousands of people showed up with their cell phones banging away, and then I wasn't able to push down to the start finish line anymore. The noise floor was a goddamn nightmare. The only time the noise floor has been worse than this was in Salt Lake City, when the racetrack was right under high tension power lines. This was pretty nuts though. Look at this crowd, man. This is the biggest crowd that I've ever seen at one of these criterium races. This is me starting to kind of like fade and like tell the director like, hey, get off my shot. Like I can't go much farther. This is really like kind of absolutely as far as I was able to go. Beginning of the day on Friday, when there weren't thousands of people, when there were just hundreds of people, I was able to punch all the way down and go into the start finish, which I really like to do, and they really like that too. But you know, crashing is not an option, and so when the RSSI numbers start to get really low, you got to play it safe and you got to chill. This is so the Insta360 Go 2 does this thing where like it'll film for a couple of minutes and then it'll just randomly stop. This is me coming back in the middle of a battery and asking Brian to check the Insta360 Go, and I just ended up having him stop it and restart it. And that brings us into this here, which is it starting and stopping real quick. And then here's another one. Hold on. What stabilization? I think, let me get this onto FPV stabilization. I probably have to do this on every single one. So that was horizon lock just now. This is now FPV stabilization, which is no horizon lock. Next file, I'll play with no stabilization so you can see some of the wind. They run this deep into the night, but they have these giant lights, which just look so cool. One of the things that I liked the most was actually the team flying the Mavic 3 Pro. They're looking straight down, and as these riders go, as this train of riders go past all these big ass stadium lights, the shadows are just the coolest thing ever, because every rider casts a shadow and then that shadow does this. It's just amazing. You'll see it if you check out the live streams on Tulsa Tough YouTube channel. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's just the coolest thing ever, and it happens over and over and over again because there's all these big ass lights. And so yeah, they're like 400 or 500 feet up, just looking straight down. Another thing that we had to kind of contend with was, since there's so many people at these events, inevitably somebody's going to bring their Mavic or Air or whatever, and we got to be careful of mid-airs, because if there's just some idiot hovering in the middle of the track and we don't see him, that could go pretty bad. They actually had, I think her name was Cassandra, they had somebody out with a remote ID receiver, and there's an application on the phone that will grab the ID number off the drone, and it'll show the drone location, the altitude, and then it even tries to show where the person is flying from. And on yesterday, actually, I found one. I was walking and I found the one guy and told him to bring it down and not put it back up. And then it took us a while, man. It took us like a half an hour to find this other guy that was flying really sketchy. I actually ended up finding him while I was flying, and he just happened to be landing at the time. And I dive bombed down, and I was like orbiting around him, like blasting the throttle as loud as I could to like let him know, like, hey asshole, stop. Yeah, that was pretty fucking slick. That little remote ID setup. There it is, right there. Actually, it's just a little tiny receiver with an antenna that she had up on a pole, and then she had two little iPhone holders, and it was just an awesome little setup. And so yeah, that was interesting to kind of see that. You know, it's very easy for us to like hear remote ID and be like, oh, it's the devil, it's the worst thing ever. In this situation, remote ID actually really helps, because it helps us find these people that are flying these things. And you know, like, if they're, when the one guy was flying sketchy, we had to land, because he was like 100 feet up, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I put like one battery in when he was there, and I was real cautious, and I was able to see him up higher. But like, yeah, it's tough. So it was cool to see remote ID, to see the other side of remote ID. To be honest, what was kind of disappointing is how hard it was to find these guys. Like the guy that was the biggest problem, they didn't find, like, he was not found because of remote ID. He was found because of me. I physically was flying looking for him, and saw him and chased him. Oh, and then I forgot the funniest part. So I'm orbiting him as he's like quickly like not looking at me, making a point not to look at me, and like folding it up and put it away in his backpack. And then he tries to like nonchalantly just start walking away, and I just chased him. I just sat like 10 feet behind him and just for like 2 full minutes, and just like walked him out again, just to like make sure that he knew, like, don't fucking put that thing back up in the air, you donkey. So that was interesting. I've had that situation before where I've been flying these events and I'll see a Mavic 500 feet up. I've never had anybody be so brazen. There were a bunch of people. There were, I think, 3 separate occasions that spectators with Mavics and Airs were very low, like creepy low. So yeah, that was interesting. That was a new thing. Right there, that's the Insta360 just randomly stopping. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. It just stops recording. I've no idea why it does this, but it does it, and it's kind of annoying. This is the Insta360 Go 2 being really weird and like flipping itself into high frame rate mode. I don't know why it does that either. Here is, let's turn stabilization off. Well, so now we're into Saturday. This is now in the Tulsa Arts District. And so we will kill, I don't remember if wind was nasty this day or not, but whatever. We'll just let it roll. So this is day 2 now. I've actually gotten some sleep, which is great. This racetrack is start finish line, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm outside of 6, and I'm covering the run down the hill between turn 5 and 6, 90 degree. And then the same thing happened when I was testing. I was able to run all the way down to the start finish line, but as soon as a couple thousand people showed up with cell phones blaring, I was not able to go that far down anymore. But luckily, this run here, so that was turn 6 on our left. Look at that beautiful little mural there. I was able to own this stretch. And this is kind of an ugly stretch, which is perfect. Like, they tend to put me somewhere where either the static camera coverage is not good, or it's kind of ugly, so that you don't have to just look at a static camera, a locked off camera of this ugly spot. You can actually like have something interesting. And so it worked really, really well. Here's a little skyline view of Tulsa. Tulsa's an interesting place, man. Kind of a cool spot. Very similar to Salt Lake City in that there's a massive population of religious folks, and then so the counterculture really comes out, and so pride flags all over the place, drag shows, all kinds of really fun stuff. Almost got that one right. I again, as soon as I put the Insta360 Go on, I started blowing everything. The rig doesn't fly nearly as good with that thing on there. It's only 26 grams, but good God, does that make a difference. And so I don't have any HD footage that I'm super proud of, but that's okay. Next year is going to be absolutely epic, having 04 with 4K and the ability to just DVR everything. And the truck has hours of footage from me, and there's some really good stuff in there through the vistas that went that they banked. So yeah, if I can find the time and or motivation, I will bug them to see if I can get a hold of that footage and do like a big edit. But I have a feeling I won't, because I have just enough from the Insta360 Go 2, and I have a whole bunch of other edits that I'm wanting to do. This is one of the lead or tail motos picking up, I think, a water bottle. The riders will just toss their water bottles, and they don't want to leave it on the track surface. These moto guys are nuts, man. They ride all day. They ride like, I think they ride hundreds of miles, and they just run the circuit. So there's like lead moto, and then there's tail moto to keep it to keep everybody together. These guys are awesome. They're super cool. This is a new shot that I kind of figured out that I'm absolutely in love with. So if I sit on the inside of a corner here, and if I time it wrong, the leader will just go right by. But then I can pick up the Peloton and just do this really cool little backwards slide into a pan. The truck was fucking freaking out the first time I did that. Brad actually was like, "Dude, that new move you're doing is awesome." So that's a new tool in the toolbox for me. Like, I swear to God, every single person was like, "So do you have a second camera when you're doing that? Like, what's going on there?" And it's just like, "Nah, man, what you see is what I see." Like, it's just when, like, I've flown a straight line, and it's a closed course, so I know I'm good. And it's just, look at the ground at the bottom of the frame, don't hit the ground, and kind of is what it is. This is a super famous little venue here. They were loving me giving them kind of like pretty shots of this, and then swooping down, showing the street signs, and then a little bit of crowd. I did something kind of cool that I wish I'd thought of earlier. During like the intermediates and whatnot, I was actually going to the crowd, and I was bringing the drone over to them and saying, hey, just like screaming, like, "Hey guys, this is the drone. Don't be afraid of it. If you see the drone pointing at you, look, the little camera, see it? Go crazy, like, give me some energy. They might put you on the live stream." And like, everybody loved it. This little group here. So whenever I was flying this, there weren't many people, but I caught it for the pros races. There was a whole big line of people here, and I talked to them all in like little groups. I would do like 10 feet of people at a time, and I would just say the same thing over and over and over again. Boy, did this particular group understand the assignment. There was one point, I of course didn't have the HD camera on it, but I hope the truck used it, where I came and so basically what I tell them is like, "Hey, if I come up and start like jamming on the throttle, and you'll hear it going like rah, 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 really loud, that's me telling you guys like, hey, get up, start screaming, and then I'm gonna do a slow pass, and the TV truck will maybe put you on the live stream." There was a point where I did that, and this fucking fence was just shoulder to shoulder for like 100 feet. People fucking ringing the fucking cowbells, and it was so cool, man. I actually, after they did that, I like in the middle of a battery, I landed, I walked over, I was like, you guys understood the assignment, and everybody, it was really cool. And then the funniest moment of this day, so this bus here that says Crude on the side, I think Crude is like a fairly popular like brand maybe in the cycling world. This was filled with people, and I'd been talking to them kind of the same thing, like, hey, when I come up, give me some energy. So typically when I fly around these people at these criterium races, the spectators, like they're like, it's a mix of like amazement and just like being dumbfounded, and so I get a lot of like, and like the TV track ain't gonna put that on, right? Like little kids will be like, but like the adults a lot of times just like, and so the crude truck, I talked to them a couple times. Well, uh so I'm sending live video to the TV truck. They don't just put that on the live stream all the time, right? They've got 10 other cameras to choose from. And so what we do as camera operators at these events is we try to sell the director a shot that he's going to want to take. I can't, like, the director is on the comms. The camera operators can't be on the comms like, hey, I got something cool happening, take my camera. Like, you just have to send them video. You have to, like, communicate with the director through the shot that you're sending them. And sometimes you got to try to kind of get their attention. For me, it's kind of slick. I'll just do like a flip or a roll, and that like looks completely insane. And that's my way of getting them to look over at my camera if I'm trying to sell them a shot. Well, the top of this crude bus was filled. I was like, perfect. This is the one. And I just talked to them. And so they're giving me a little bit of energy. And so what I'll have to do is like give it time, right? Because there might be something more interesting kind of going on. And so I'm up here and I'm just kind of horseshoeing back and forth to just kind of sell the shot. And this like 60, 70-year-old dude starts taking his I know exactly what he's doing. I know exactly what's happening. And he's starting to mess with his belt and mess with his pants. I'm like, don't you do it. And we were actually stationed right next to them, and I actually screamed up there. I said, "Don't you do it!" And sure enough, he fucking moons me. Just this wrinkly ass. And as soon as he did it, because comms are kind of tough. Like there's a generator and there's music, and I can't always hear the director in the headset. And so as soon as he actually does it, I just yawed really hard, because like just in case that he was on my camera. Turns out that he wasn't, right? And I start flying away. I'm like, I gotta give that guy time to put his effing pants back on. As soon as I start flying away, the director goes, no, go back to the truck. I like that shot. I'm ready for it now. So one of the other things that I do to communicate with the director is I'll yaw left and right for no, and I'll pitch up and down for yes. And so I'm flying away from the crude truck, and I'm going, no. And he's like, Aaron, go back, FPV, go back. And so I got it into a steady cruise, and I actually reached over onto the push and talk, and I said, can't go back, guy mooned me. He goes, really? And so that was hands down the funniest part of Saturday, and the first time I've ever been mooned while flying FPV. So that's my crude truck story. Crude indeed, my friends. Crude indeed. Well, yeah. Here you'll see. I think that it kept recording. Yeah. Here you go. So here. Oh, so speaking of this. So it's Midwest Drone Productions. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. They've got this amazing setup. So he's got this incredible, I don't know, sunshade thing that like folds out. You take this and you like right in here, it folds up. It rotates around. There's a big hinge here. And so it just, and then you get all this shade down here, and then when you're done, it rotates up and it packs into a little baggie here. Yeah, their setup here is awesome. They've got a little generator, a bunch of tables, just everything. Huge cooler. He's got this van all set up for it. Super impressive. Just unbelievable. Little area. I'm so lucky that they were there to be able to use this. I didn't have to worry about easy ups blown away. I had company the whole time. It was really, really, really cool. And so yeah, this was our little compound. I was set up in the back here. He had an extra table, so I just kind of took over this table, and then they had a big long 4x8 I guess table on the side that they were on. And so yeah, this was the little compound that I was at. Which was amazing. We were right next to. I'm pretty much always right next to a static camera operator. So yeah, that was our little setup for Saturday. Here's another little bit of Saturday. Let's leave this on Horizon Lock. Watch a little bit of Horizon Lock stuff here. Little bit of a challenge here. The spectators were kind of walking by right back behind me, so I was having to be really careful taking off and landing. But it's funny, the more of these events that I do, the more not only the riders but the spectators kind of get used to it, and they start to understand what it is, and they keep their distance, which is really nice. So another kind of cool example. So that was a Cadillac Blackwing. One of the other things that I try to do is to I really like it when I can hear the announcers, and the PA system was loud enough at all 3 days where I was able to hear the announcers, because the announcers will start talking about like the sponsors or specific riders, and then I can try to find that sponsor, or I can try to find that specific rider. And if I do that, the truck will always take my shot. You know what I mean? Again, storytelling. And so that was a Cadillac Blackwing leading the pack. I heard Brad over the PA mention, I think I heard him say Blackwing. And so I chased that Cadillac Blackwing down from 5 to 6. And the dealership that supplied all of those cars that they worked a sponsorship deal out with, they specifically thanked one of the main guys for such good coverage of the cat. And they were talking about when I chased the Blackwing down. It was super cool. What was really funny is he was like, I don't know what he's really talking about. And I was like, well, yeah, I was chasing that car down between 5 and 6. He's like, oh my God, are you serious? And that's actually what started the conversation. I hung out with a bunch of like the main guys a bunch and had some really, really great conversations with him. And he was like kind of blown away by that. Like he didn't realize that like I did that, or I even thought about that. So yeah, that was super cool. Here's again that. Come on, man. Is that not such a, and it's still like, it's chill, like it's hard, yeah, like it's hard to fly backwards, but like it's not that hard. You don't look in the middle of your viewfinder. You look at the bottom. You know, like here, look. Right? Oh, farts. I went back too far. Like, all right, hold on. So this is zoomed in a little bit. So let's go to 4x5. Well, yeah. So I'm flying in 4x3, right? So I have a little bit less field of view than this, but just stick with me here. So let's turn this off so we get full width, right? And so look at all you have to reference off of down here. Here, I'm gonna do this. Ready? Look at all you have to go on. You've got the railing. You've got all this on the left. You can control your altitude if you're flying backwards. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Start doing it, guys. It's a really good skill to have. You just look down. You're flying from down here. You're looking at this. And all you have to do is make sure that the ground doesn't come too high up. That's really all flying backwards is. Like, I hate to give away all my secrets, but like, you can fly backwards too. I don't recommend it on like not a closed course. You know, like if there weren't barricades, it would be a little sketchy, because if somebody was just randomly walking across the street, I could hit their little ankles. But it's a sub 250 rig, it'd be fine. But yeah, it's so funny. Like I've always had, like, people are, the crew is always like, oh my God, dude, the shots that you give are insane. I don't know how you do it. It's wild. But like, I've never had so many people call out like one specific thing. Just like, dude, how are you doing that? How many cameras do you have on that? How are you doing that? It's just, and then I'm just like, yeah, you just go backwards. And then they're just like, what? No, say more than that. But yeah, I'm super happy that I kind of figured that out, because that inside the corner shot where they're all the way leaned over, and like, so one of the, when they cut the static cameras, typically they're cutting the camera that's looking at the riders' faces, right? Like, you can only look at their asses for so long. Like, most of the shots they want of, looking at the peloton, looking at the riders. FPV, it's tough to do that, right? Like I can, when on their cooldown laps, when there's big gaps between them, I'll come bombing past them and I'll throw a yaw 180 and then I'll ride that momentum and I'll get that really cool face-to-face shot with them. But I cannot do that. I can't do that during the race. Even if like somebody's on the breakout, I can't do that at, I mean, I can, but I'm not going to do that at 30, 35, 40 miles an hour. When there's barriers, 10 feet left and right with faces all over them. And so I've always tried to figure out how to deliver that like head-on shot. A couple of years ago for Salt Lake City, I actually built an analog and DJI rig where the analog camera was what I flew through, and then I brought my analog goggles with me, and that was the forward facing, and then I put a Vista in the back with down tilt. But unfortunately, having two video systems screaming and yelling, they stomp all over each other, and so it didn't really work, but it was fun to try. What's interesting is it worked totally fine like here in front of the house, but then as soon as I got on site and there's 50 different things on 3 different radio frequencies, right? Wireless mics and wireless speakers and cell phones and all that shit. I got like 100 feet of range and that was it. It also became pretty apparent that I would need to have someone looking at the monitor to tell me go faster, go slower, because I'm looking forward and I swoop down on them, and if I go too fast, the rear-facing shot is worthless. But I didn't even get a chance to really dive into that. For next year, I'm going to try to have a dual operator set up because it's looking like they'll almost certainly have Midwest Drone Productions back out. And so when one of them is flying the Mavic 3, the other one's just kind of hanging. And so I should be able to have whoever's not flying their Mavic on the dual operator setup. And that would be super cool. Bubby's Cine Mini is set up for a dual op or a gimbal on the bottom. And apparently if you run 204s on channels like 1 and 3, they won't stomp all over each other. So yeah, and now with the FAA bumping 250 up to 400 if you put a waiver in, a dual op rig is totally possible. No clue how it'll do at 30, 35, 40 miles an hour. Like I might get 30 seconds of runtime, but I'm going to try it. And that could be insane. That'll be I'll build it on the Cine Mini frame because it is absolutely like the lightest weight possible frame to build that on. I can't go down to 2-inch props for any of these. I know there are some 2-inch frames that can carry the gimbals, but 2-inch will not work for this kind of speed and this kind of wind and whatnot. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. And then, yeah, next year's going to be wild, man. I will not be using any of the same stuff other than my QX7. Literally, my QX7 will be the only thing that I just used for 3 days that I'll be using next year. I'll be on completely different builds, right? AOS Cine 3.0, AOS Cine 3.5 on bi-blades, and then Cine Mini, and I'll with the gimbal, and then if I get that Cine Mini with the gimbal running well, I probably won't bring the Raxus, but I do have this Raxus that caught on fire with 03 in it. If I don't do the Cine Mini thing, Raxus will be the 3rd level backup sort of rig. But yeah, that I'm really excited for that because a gimbal on the bottom, right? Because I'm going for a rear facing shot, and so you pitch forward, and now the gimbal is perfect for that rear facing shot. That could be amazing, and that would be another level of fun of working with that second operator and like having to for us to be able to work out our communication of like faster, slower, higher, lower, left, right. Speaking of, this is the first time that I've ever done hold on, let me me start. So we're now into day 3. Here, let's do. Oh, this is a short file again. We keep mixing it up with the stabilization. We'll do FPV stabilization. Wait, no, let's turn stabilization off. You can see some of the wind. Yeah, so more often than not at these events, all of us camera operators show up. Some of us have worked with the director before, some of us haven't. We don't necessarily have the same director all day. Sometimes, like for the intermediate races that aren't on like the main live stream, they'll pick a less seasoned director. There is, because we're not standing next to each other, able to talk to each other, and because the director has 10, 11, 12 cameras, and that would be a hell of a conversation if 12 people were talking all at the same time. Like I said a little bit ago, you have to communicate visually, basically. And that takes some time. Like, for me, well, for all of us, we have to figure... The game is how good of a job can I do so that the director takes my camera shot as often as possible. Like, selfishly, like, that's what you're going for. It's perfect because it encourages you to do a good job, to deliver a really good camera shot as often as possible, right? So every single camera operator out there is judging their own performance by how often the director takes their camera. And so throughout the day, you will learn how to communicate with the director, and you also try to figure out what shots they like and what shots they don't like. Usually, you do that for a few hours, and then, all right, see you in a year, or see you in a couple of months, and then the next event, you have to build that up over and over and over and over again, right? Having this be 3 days in a row was really cool, because day 1 was like every other event. By the end of the day, like, you're cranking. You've learned it. You've figured that person out. You know what they like. They know what you like. And, like, the director has to learn your timing, especially for us with drones, right? Like, we're not like a regular camera operator that can just whip this camera around. Like, we've got to set stuff up if we want it to look not vomit inducing. And so it was really, really, really cool to be able to work with the same director 24 hours later, and to know what they like, and then to build on that, and then to do it again the third day. That was really, really, really nice to just keep building that. I mean, you know what? It's nonverbal communication, and it's one of the things that was really cool last year with couples dance, is that's nonverbal communication, baby. You don't like say to your partner like, hey, I'm gonna spin you now, or hey, I'm gonna dip you now. And so yeah, that's always been something that I've really enjoyed, is that aspect of it. And this was really neat to be able to, I'd never noticed, it never occurred to me that, like, we build that like shorthand between us, and then it just gets deleted. And then we have to rebuild it every year. I'd never kind of realized that was sort of happening. So that was really cool to see. I mean, from like the first battery on the second and third day, like, we were dialed. I knew exactly what they wanted to see. I knew how to deliver it. And they knew what to expect from me. So we were able to do, that first day, me diving that building, that's an example. Like, I was not getting that timed right. And then, I don't think the director ever was able to get the shot up while I was still coming down the building. I would love for that have been day 2. We would have probably gotten that dive and then picked the riders up. And so yeah, that was neat. That was really, really, really neat to get that huge. These 2 leaders broke out, and they were between 30 and 45 seconds almost this entire men's pro race. It was wild. I've never seen such a big break like that. This is team based. There'll be like 3, 4, 5 riders per team. And so 2 teams sent 2 of their riders out to push the entire field. Which like forces like everyone else to kind of keep up. The strategy behind Criterium Racing is really, really neat. You know, these guys all have roughly the same amount of energy, and when they're in the draft, when they're all packed up like that, they use like 30 to 40% less energy. And so to break out and ride away, like you get screwed. But since it's team based, the team can send a rider out and like, yo, you ain't winning this race, brother, but you're gonna hook the rest of the team up and push this pack. And that's exactly what they did. It was pretty slick. I think it might have been the German team that did that. There were riders from all around the world at this. This was really cool. Apparently, a team from Germany. So cycling is bigger in Europe than it is in the U.S. And I think it's also more competitive over there. And so from what I can understand, a team from Germany just like decided that they wanted to come over and win Tulsa Tough, and they did exactly that. They came over and they fucking won, and it was there was a lot of excitement around that. People were really psyched up. This was my so this is now day 3. This is yesterday. This racetrack is just a square. Turn 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm stationed in turn 4. There was up here. The static cameras did not have a very good vantage point because the road went up over crests. So the director was really happy that I was able to fly up over the crest. What you just saw was about as far as I was able to go, though, because there was a lot of trees and it was up over crest. For the record, Crossfire was pretty miserable this weekend. I am really looking forward to getting off of Crossfire and getting onto Nomad. Crossfire was consistently worse than old school DJI, to give you some idea. I've said for a long time that Crossfire is way overhyped, and like, yes, 6-7 years ago it was way better than anything else, but boy, have they not improved it at all, and it is showing its age, man. The fact that old school DJI Vistas can like so drastically outrun Crossfire is kind of ridiculous. That's yeah, I don't know what TBS is up to over there, but they need to. They don't need to do anything. What do they care? You know, people will still buy it. It's the Crossfire receiver itself is very durable, and the QC is really good. And they seem to just be okay with that, and they're just like, yep, that's fine for us. We'll keep on selling it. But yeah, the days of Crossfire being the go-to for pretty much anyone are really gone. Nomad, even ELRS 2.4 at this point is a much better option, and Nomad is just the end. That's it. Like, there is absolutely no reason for anyone to run Crossfire anymore unless it's free or something like that. Like, Nomad demolishes it in every single way, and then ELRS 2.4 kills it pretty good. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited to get completely off of and I'm getting all the way off of Crossfire. Like, I'm gonna buy. I mean, what I love about Nomad is you can use it with any ELRS shit, right? You can use it with a regular ELRS 2.4, an ELRS 900. You can use it with the dual band. And so, yeah, I have a bunch of regular old ELRS 2.4 stuff that'll be better than Crossfire. And I've been slowly buying dual band Nomad stuff. The new fleet that I'm going to be using for this. So here you go. So here's me trying to talk to the crowd. Ready? And they react. It's I love it, man. I forget when I figured that out. I figured that out last year at some point. I forget what event, but it's neat. It's super interesting to see. That's it. That's it. That's all the HD footage that I got. It's yeah, it's neat to try to troubleshoot that shit. You know, how do you get people to react in a way that is like cool rather than just so. And then so yeah, Friday night went back to the hotel, ate a burger, fell right to sleep. Saturday night, everybody was still pretty shot at the end of it. Nobody really hung. Last night though, everybody went out. There's a Club Majestic in downtown Tulsa. We just missed a drag show, which was kind of sad. We missed a drag show there by like 2 hours. To give you an idea what this place was like, it was just amazing. It was just so fucking cool. All the riders were out, you know, like very famous, very well-known riders from around the world. They're just like drinking their faces off, screaming, yelling. There's a stripper pole. They're fucking climbing up it. There's one of the riders one of the male riders climbs all the way up the stripper pole and gets on the fucking rafters and starts going like sideways on the rafters. And he's like holding his legs up, doing like crazy shit with these legs. The security guard goes run over, get the fuck down. It was a party, man. It was really, really fun. A whole bunch of the crew came out. We all hung out. That's why my voice is shot, because the music was blasting and we were there for a couple hours, so we were just screaming at each other, sharing, you know, war stories from the past few days. But that was really cool. We closed that club down. They shut it down 1:30, I guess. And yeah, we closed the I wasn't necessarily I was just gonna stay, whatever. I'm up late every night, right? They're only an hour behind from Eastern time. Like, I wasn't specifically planning on like, you know, closing the club out, but they close it down, and Brad's like, my man, you closed down the Majestic Club. Welcome to Tulsa. So that was kind of cool. That was like a little secret rite of passage. This cycling race has been going on for, I think they said 20 years. Like, there's a lot of history with Tulsa. Like, if you mention Tulsa Tough to anybody that knows anything about cycling, they'll be like, oh yeah, that one. Like, it's really well known. So yeah, that was cool to hang out last night. I drank a couple of gin and tonics, didn't get sick to my stomach. It was great. And yeah, woke up this morning, hopped on a plane, and here I am. Looking forward to going to sleep tonight. So that was Tulsa Tough. I'm not gonna try to give shout outs to all the people because I'll miss people, and I hate that. But yeah, incredible crew, incredible group of people. The cycling world is an awesome group of people. It's a cool, like, you know, intersection of like tech, like carbon fiber bikes, carbon fiber wheels. They're like the derailleurs to change gears are now like electric and like Bluetooth or whatever. So it's like kind of engineering tech nerds, mixed with like fitness folks. For whatever reason, they're a very like loving LGBT friendly group, which is of course amazing. Yeah, it's a unique group of people. Over my years, I've been into different things, and I've seen like the community. So like cars, for example. One of the main reasons that I was pulled towards autocross track days is that the people that do that are really cool people. They're not assholes. Like, if this is you, this is not like, and you should know this already, but like the car show crowd, like the car audio crowd, like unfortunately the muscle car crowd, it's not like that. It's not a community that that connects with my values all that well, if you know what I'm saying. And so cycling, I wish that I was more. I would love to get into cycling to be a part of that community a little bit more, especially because it would be a way to get into shape. And I would like to at some point, but it's not, today ain't that day. So at some point I have a feeling I might, But yeah, it's when. Have you guys ever had that? Type in chat if you've ever noticed that. If you've ever noticed like a community around like a certain thing where like that community is magical. Um, it's like an extra little, like if you become interested in something and then the community kind of matches your value and is not filled with shitheads, like that's like an extra little bonus. Um, and so I'm curious if any of you guys have noticed that anywhere else. Of course, there's always going to be a group of shitheads, right? Like, but when like the group of shitheads is like 10% of the community, and then the other 90% of the community are like, human beings that aren't just trash. That's pretty rad. Uh, and yeah, yet again at Tulsa Tough, like the crowd, the riders, like just an awesome group of people, and the riders and the fans actually, they're like falling in love with FPV, man. The 4 years ago, that first Aniston race I did, after the event, I always talk to as many riders as I can to ask them, like, hey, did you notice me? Did I mess you up at all? Like, did I affect you in any way? Like, you're the athlete. It's your show. I want to be as transparent as possible. Like, understand that, like, it kind of benefits you, right? Like, the announcers can tell your story. Like, you'll get your couple minutes of fame. Maybe that'll lead to you getting onto a better team, whatever, sponsorship, shit like that. And I've only ever actually had one rider like that said, at one point, he just like kind of had one of these because he didn't expect me to be there. This is the first time ever that there was like FPV at one of these events. And he said that it was the lights. It was the lights on the drone. And after that, I started blacking out all the lights on the flight controllers, so that it was a little bit less obvious, right? And like over the years, so at this event for the first time ever, a couple riders like actually pulled a hand off the handlebars and like waved at me or like gave me devil horns, and that was really cool. That was like, it happened once that there was hand pedaled, like the bikes where you lay down on the ground, and that was the first time it happened. He was hand pedaling and I was like right on him, and he just took one hand off and gave me one of these. I was like, oh, that's super cool. And then at one point when I was backing down that hill on the third day, the rider pulled his hand off and like waved at me, and that was super cool. And then just like the number of people from the audience that would like find us and come and be like, yo, you guys are doing such cool work, we really love it. Every single event that like ratchets up, and it's more and more and more, which is super cool. So yeah, that's really, that means a lot, There's my Tulsa Tough recap for you. It only took me an hour and 20 minutes. Good Lord. Guess what time it is? I'm going to blow through this so that I can actually get caught up on chat because I've completely ignored you guys. I'm so sorry. But I just wanted to just do story time and get that all out there. ORT Micro V antennas are back in stock. I ran out of the white ones a while ago. I have still had the black one. So if you've been waiting for a white ORT Micro V, or there was one or two people that ordered a white Micro V, and I sent you a message and I said, hey, I ran out of the white. I'm going to send you a black. If let me know if that's not cool and we'll work it out. So yeah, if you ordered a white and you got a black and you would like a white, hit me up and we'll figure it out. But yeah, lots of custom length, custom shrink wrap ORT Micro Vs that work perfectly. These are perfectly set up for the Mobula 6 ball sack canopy. They're the exact right length. The extra shrink wrap tucks into a hole in the canopy, and it's just perfect. These will absolutely work just as a regular old Micro V in this very specific 46 millimeter length, which is kind of perfect for a lot of tiny whoops. I found 40 millimeters to be a little too short, 50 to be a little bit long, so these are right in the middle. So yeah, these will be on the Etsy store. Newbie Drone Hummingbird Race V2 is back, and they reflashed it for me. And I put a couple of my stickers in the box, and they used one of my Micro King stickers to close the box. I specifically sent it with this BriBrain camera mount to try to like look how good this camera mount is, guys. Maybe, you know, ditch that goober mount that's kind of fragile and super heavy. So next week when I'm back in town, we will dive back into the Hummingbird Race, and I will not brick the ESC this time. If you buy a Hummingbird Race V2, for the love of God, don't mess with the ESC. Leave it alone. It's a specific ESC hex. It is set to 48K, which is exactly what you want. Leave it. Change whatever you want in BetaFlight. Don't reinstall BetaFlight though, because they use a specific hex for BetaFlight. They're on the CAC firmware, which like you can download it from their website. But yeah, do not mess with anything on the ESC side of things. You can connect to BlueJay and you can change your timing and you can turn your the beeper strength up and down, but don't try to go to 24K. I mean, don't go to 24K in general. Definitely don't go to 96K, and don't try to change the version. It's a very specific version. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited because I only got like a couple batteries on it. It was pretty gnarly for those couple of batteries. Nomad XR4. This is the dual band, dual antenna one that I got to read up on Nomad a little bit. I don't know if it connects both 2.4 and 900 and then selects which one, or if one of them gets bad, it connects on the other one. But yeah, this is the one that you want. There's like XR1, XR2, XR3, and XR4. XR4 is the one that has two antennas, and they're dual band antennas. So this is the one that really utilizes the full kind of Nomad redundancy. This is the main reason that so this is a Pyro drone order, by the way. This is the main reason that I did the Pyro drone order. This is a 200 millimeter DJI O3/04 MIPI cable for the Cineglide. The Cineglide is going to an O3 setup, and the regular 150, I think, millimeter cable is like exactly too short. So yeah, I needed to get this cable, which is what spawned the Pyro drone order. So that'll be really cool. I'm actually really excited about that because that Cineglide is a beast on the 2507s. And I'll be able to take the giant GoPro mount off of it, and I'll be able to go back to 5.5-inch props. I'm still looking for the biggest possible. So the two biggest motors that I've been able to find with 16. If you want a little homework assignment, here you go. 16 by 16 motor mounting, which is what like all 5-inch 2306, 2207 kind of motors mount. I need the biggest possible motor. And so far, the two biggest that I've found are both Brother Hobby. It's the 2507s that I already have, and they've also got a 2510. I will probably end up getting a set of those 2510s, but I don't like that motor size. 10 millimeters tall, 25 millimeters wide. That's 2.5 to 1 of a ratio. That's a motor that's going to get really hot if you hammer it. I think what I'm going to do is get it in the highest kV that they've got and then just motor limit it down. And that way, it, in theory, will never get like so hot that it hammers the batteries or the ESC or whatever. Technically, Racer Star used to make a 2607 or 2608, but it's a Racer Star motor. I'm not going down that road. It's also an older motor. But yeah, I would... And then once you get bigger than 2507 or 2510, and you get up into like 2806, 2807, those are 19 by 19 mount pattern, and that will not work on the Cineglide arms. That will also not work on the 7-inch Cineglide arms that Ryan Harrell cut for me. So yeah, I'm almost certainly gonna get those 2510s for these 7-inch arms, because a 2507 on a 7-inch prop is an absolute no. I mean, it'll work and it'll be like a low throttle cruisy rig, but that's not what I want. So I will almost certainly be getting, and I'm gonna put those 7-inch arms on a regular glide frame actually, because they do not jive with the way that I had Ryan cut those arms in 6mm thick carbon, and that will not work with the way that the front end of the Cineglide is kind of set up. I didn't realize that, but I don't think those 7-inch arms would really work all that well as 5mm thick, because they're so long. So I think that it was probably a good thing that I didn't have Ryan cut them in 5mm. So yeah, the Cineglide will return. Flywoo 04 ND8 filter, which I've actually heard good things about. Okay, yeah, that's just... Oh, this is the Lite filter. The 04 Lite filter. So this is an ND8 with a bayonet mount. And that is really cool because I found... I guess I didn't print it, but this is a TPU 04 camera holder with the bayonet mount on the front. And so I'm hoping that we can get this bayonet mount on the Batwing. And then bayonet mount just has like 4 tabs, top, bottom, left, right, and then 4 slots. And you just put the slots in between the tabs and rotate it, and it hangs on beautifully. So this is the first step in getting ND filters onto the 04 Lite, which is awesome, and I'm very excited about. So, yeah, thank you, Flywoo, for understanding the assignment and making 04 Lite ND filters. So this is an ND8. I think there's also an ND16 in here. Yep, there's the ND16. So that's I'm ultra nerding out on these and very excited by them. Before I forget, I will probably forget. This is there's gonna be another week that goes by with no live streams. I'm so sorry, guys. Our family's going on our little summer vacation to Cocoa Beach, Florida, Wednesday morning, and so no stream Wednesday, and then we don't come back till Sunday night. So no Wednesday stream, no Friday stream, no Sunday stream, but next Monday night I'll be here again, and then I'll be here 4 times a week for you for a while longer. I don't know if I have any more gigs on the books. I usually get scheduled for gigs like 14 minutes in advance, so I mean that's you know, par for the course. But yeah, there will be no live stream interruptions for a while after this, I promise. Camera Butter 04 Pro ND filter set. I think this is an 8 and a 16. I'm super excited. You know you're a fucking nerd when ND filters excite you to the point of absolute, I don't know. Pretend I said something funny. Yeah. 04 Pro ND filters. Look at that ridiculous little shape that they're in. They kind of hook on the lens. So this will be great. At the Anniston Criterium Cycling Race, I was telling you guys that the AOS Cine 2.5 old school, the version 1 that I've been flying forever, fell out of the air when I was pushing it. Something that I do, if you're new here, at these events every like 2 or 3 batteries. When I come back into land, I will go into like a safe little area, and I'll just like full throttle, turn it around, put it into prop wash, full throttle, turn it around, stress out the ESC, stress out the motors, so that if it's going to shit the bed and fall out of the air, it falls out of the air back behind my tent in a safe spot, rather than in front of 50 cyclists whose professional career could be ruined if they go over the handlebars and get impaled on somebody else's bike, right? And I've been doing that for a long time. I've just continued to do it because I knew it was a good idea. And a month or two ago at Anniston, that's exactly what happened. I came back into the truck. I had my little path that I'd been doing this on all day, and I turned it around and I hammered the. Actually, no, I came in face first and I looked up at the sky and I just blasted the throttle, and the ESC shit the bed. One motor shut off and it went tumbling into concrete. It broke the AOS Cine 2.5 frame, and at that point, that ESC is dead to me. That's this ESC here. I figured out what it is. It's a Mamba ESC. I will no longer be buying Mamba ESCs. If you want this ESC that's only fallen out of the sky one time, it still works. The rig flew after that, but this is dead to me. I mean, I could put this in a freestyle rig, where I'm not flying over people, right? And like, who cares if it? Not who cares, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't know. It would be more symbolic if it left this house and never came back. So if you want that, I'll pretty much just send it to you for the price of shipping. So that AOS Cine 2.5 rig is now has jello. It's developed jello. So they don't sell the old school AOS Cine 2.5 meant for the Vista anymore. The new version of that frame is designed for the 03, and unfortunately, they've gone to a rubber camera mount setup to try to like soft mount the camera, and now you get jello, which is just the silliest thing ever. It's this build, and I checked all 4 motors. I even swapped one of the bells out on one of the motors, and it didn't make it any better. I switched the propellers. That didn't make it any better. I don't get it. It's got to be this. This whole soft mounting camera thing is consistently kind of awful, and I'm really getting tired of it. So yeah, hard mount your cameras if you don't want jello, friends. This thing sucked. I couldn't fly this during the day at all. It was really bad. The jello was really nasty. Once the sun came down, I was able to put this up in the air and this is the rig that has the Insta360 Go 2 mount on it. So I was able to get a little bit of HD footage, but I'm very excited to be able to run ND filters moving forward, because that is the best way to kind of kill jello. And most frames now have this dumbass rubber or grommet based camera mounting setup, and so jello is going to consistently be a problem with that. I really wish that the frame designers would stop doing that, but they are prioritizing being able to use gyro flow over jello, which I don't know. I've spent an incalculable amount of time over the last 10 years learning to fly extremely smooth so that I don't have to use any stabilization. So for me, I absolutely hate that decision, and I think it's a bad decision because jello you can't get rid of. If jello is in the footage, it's done. That footage is worthless. Not being able to use gyro flow just means that you need to learn to fly better. That's fixable, and that's fun to fix. It gives you an excuse to fly a bunch. And so I think that's a really bad decision. But from a selling more shit perspective, yeah. hey, look, you can use gyroflow on our frame. Oh, I gotta have it. You know, that's me being a crotchety old man. This is these wacky little 04 Lite. Oh, they're plastic. I thought they were aluminum. What's this product called? Let's talk about how dumb it is to use 3D renders as your product image. Flywoo 04 camera shell. If you were to buy this product and you looked at this picture, would you not think that these are some sort of aluminum? Is it like, am I dumb, or does this not very specifically look like it's a shiny aluminum? Right? Manufacturers, stop using CAD images. Take a goddamn and resellers, stop using CAD images that these manufacturers send you. Take the shit out of the box and take a picture of it. I specifically did not order these when they first came out because it looked like they were metal, and that's too heavy and that's stupid. These are these molded plastic? This isn't even 3D printed. This is molded plastic. That's awesome. So these have the bayonet mount for the ND filters. I'll show you if you don't know if you've never seen a bayonet mount, I'll show you what it is. I hate that works. So that's what a bayonet mount looks like. And that's awesome. Wow, they're plastic. Okay, I'm totally down with that. Let's weigh all four of them and figure out what they weigh individually. They're still going to be heavy because they have the big ass brass grommets in them, and it is a lot of plastic. So like 5.3 grams for 4. So whatever 5.3 divided by 4 is, that's what each one of these weigh. If you don't have to run these, don't run these. Like on a tiny whoop, that's going to be heavy, 1 point something grams. But on like a 3-inch rig, this is pretty cool to be able to have a molded plastic spot for you to screw a bayonet filter on. That's pretty rad. So I'm glad that I got these. And then last but not least, 2 black. Okay. They looked super gray from the back. They look really gray. I guess they kind of are. They said that they were going to be black. These are more of a smoke crotch gray. Meteor 65 Pro frames, so I don't have to have the silly light blue and light green Meteor 65 Pro frames. I've got one transparent one now. It's like the white transparent, and now I've got some smoke crotch gray. So my indoor ultra floaty freestyle rigs can look fly again instead of looking all wacky. Because as we all know, if you're not going to fly good, you should look good. And, you know, this is one way to do that. Color coordinate, man. Makes a difference. If you're proud of your race car, you'll drive faster. If you're proud of how your race car looks, you'll drive faster. It's like a weird inside joke in the motorsport community. That's my mailbag. How did it look? Was it wrinkly? Calvin Knudsen tagged me in chat and said, "Hope you had a great weekend, brother." Thank you, dude. I did. Scotty Scott says, "What's up, gangly gangers?" Otobek says, "Hey, what are your thoughts on iFlight Defender 2504 Pro and 2.0 Lite? I believe that is the ultra heavy, like, beginner rig, right? iFlight Defender. I think that's geared towards brand new pilots. Yeah. So if you're buying like your very first build, this might be okay. iFlight does this really stupid thing. They have been for a long time, where they square off the ducts. This is a horrible idea. So many of these, all of these iFlight rigs that have these hexagon-shaped ducts are outrageously noisy. And that noise is a ton of turbulence. Turbulence is a bad thing. It kills flight characteristics, it kills efficiency, it kills everything. But it looks really cool, and so they can sell a whole bunch of these because look how cool it is. And like, you know, these things spend more time on the wall than they do in the air. And so, like, you know, whatever, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this is a super beginner rig. It's got a proprietary battery, which sucks because you can't do a bigger battery, you can't do a smaller battery. You have to only buy this one. It's not all that durable, so it's, as a beginner rig, I don't know. To me, this is an attempt to capitalize on the popularity of the Avata and to build something that looks like it but is cheaper, and it is like actual FPV, right? And like, I guess more power to iFlight for doing that. They gotta put fucking food on the table. But I would not recommend that anybody really buy this, because the styling decisions that they've made with this affect the flight characteristics in a negative way, and that's, you know, that, like, it depends, right? If it's important that your rig looks cool on the wall, I'm cool with that, man. That's fine. If you know that about yourself, that's awesome. I'm not that guy. The flight performance is all the way up here, and how they look is like somewhere down here. I will color code stuff all day to make it look have a cool combination of colors. But if there's two pieces and one of them looks really cool and the other one looks dumb but performs a lot better, I'm gonna have a dumb looking rig. So yeah, I would personally, I would stay away from those. But you do you, my friend. There's no wrong decisions. I ain't gonna judge you for a minute buying a rig that looks cool, because, you know, I'm with many things in life, aesthetics. I'm all about aesthetics. So Brian Kirk says, question I asked on Bardo's stream but didn't get answered. If I charge my batteries to fly and don't get to fly, should I discharge them to storage or keep them charged for the next day? If you're gonna fly the next day, and like, fair warning, nobody has tested this. I don't know how you would test this, but like, if you're just gonna fly the next day, I wouldn't discharge them. It's not good for batteries to stay charged for long periods of time. It's also not good for batteries to charge and discharge and charge and discharge. So like, for like a 24-hour span, fuck it, just leave them charged. It's going to be either the same amount of damage, or like, at least it's going to be a really close amount of degradation to discharging them back down and then charging them back up. If it's a week, discharge them. Like, 24 hours is my number. 48 hours is my number. 24 hours should be my number. Yeah. Make sense? Good question. Cjo says, I don't know if you're much of a watch guy, but I bought a Breitling Bentley to go with the Bentley. That's insane. I'm not. My watch game is nostalgia. I had a Shark Freestyle when I was growing up, and I absolutely love the way that the you can't really see it. These lights are too bright, but it's got the blue backlight, the old school blue LED backlight shit. And so yeah, my watch game is 100% like reliving my youth. Just getting in touch with the 80s and 90s. Although the Freestyle still makes these watches. These are still really popular watches in the surf community. Nostalgia is a powerful drug. Cole Powers says, intro video was some great footage. Well done. Thank you, man. Yeah, the little 2 minute recap and song here, they did a great job with. Here it is in the chat. You guys should at least watch that. But the live streams are actually all here. Here's this would be the men's pro yesterday. This is the full 10-hour stream from yesterday. Here's the it should be men and women's pro. This is probably men and women's pro. This is probably men and women's pro from the second day. Probably, yeah, here's the full 11-hour stream from the second day. Here's a cool little recap. What is this? Men's pro, what? Interesting. Man, they have a bunch of these here. Looks like here's the women's pro from Saturday. Oh man, they got a bunch of stuff on here. Look at them. Here's the full 5-hour from Friday, it looks like. So yeah, these are fun to watch, man, and I'm all over these. I'm in the men and women's pros way more. The intermediate on these big long live streams during the day, I test, but that's it. I with aeronautics, it's not if it's gonna fall out of the sky, it's when. And so like they hire us to fly the pro events. And so like during the day, if we're flying, they'll take our camera, but like it doesn't make much sense for me to pound 50 batteries a day before the pro event. Because it's just putting a bunch of stress, and you know, if it falls out of the air in the pro event because I flew 50 batteries during the intermediate, the beginner stuff, you know, that's not gone well, and they get that. What's really nice is like the crew totally understands that, so I don't even have to like explain myself on that. Islander FPV says, could you please weigh your 75mm 2S analog rig? Use Mobile 704 2S frame, X12, 903, 31 grams on tri-blades, flies insanely well on Tiny Whoop 300 2S off-throttle throw. Yeah, man. 75mm 2S analog rig. I think it's 28. I took apart the one... I didn't take it apart, but I changed the one that was on the 1002s because this one on the 802s, I prefer the little bit less weight. The one that I did on the 1002s is now a little Insta360 Go 2 carrier with this wacky 3D printed canopy. But the one on 802s is, yeah, 24.58 grams. This one is a lot heavier because of this TPU mount, 30.23 grams. But yeah, this is the one. The 802s are plenty for an analog 2S 75. Wait, where did I have this? I had this somewhere. I was reminding myself of something by where I put this. Hold on. Did I have it here? I might have had it on top of that. What was I trying to remind myself to do with this? Balls. That's what it was. Bimo's Ride and Grind is in the house. He says you absolutely crushed it. Thank you, brother. So good to get to... Oh my god, Bimo's Ride and Grind with a $19.99 super chat like 14 hours ago. He says, you made the best crit race weekend in the U.S. better than ever before. I don't want to watch another broadcast without you. Thank you so much, dude. That's incredibly kind. I'm super lucky to get to hang out with Brian, man. Him and his wife are just awesome people. And if you ever see a Hattie Bees, flock around and find out, you sons of bitches. Go get yourself... Just the food is fucking awesome. And yo, they have... boozy Coke slushies and painkillers, alcohol, hot chicken. What else do you need? Slushies. Not all together. Alcohol and slushies go together. Chicken separate. Cole Power says the wow factor is a combination of the tool, FPV, dynamic aerial camera platform, and pilot skill. Game recognizes game. It's true. It's true. Oh, YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. Bebo's Ride and Grind says, you are the crit goat now. Thank you, dude. Brent Anderson says, confidence, huge, and you have it. Cheers. Thank you, man. Denzillo says, hello, friends. Sounds like a good weekend. It was a good weekend. It was, I don't know if, I cannot remember the last time that, like, from an endurance perspective I've had to push myself like this, especially not with FPV. Like, I've had long days, and like I've had situations where like I've been like, yeah, I'm not flying my absolute best right now because I'm tired or whatever. This is a full-blown endurance event for everyone. All of the crew, all of the riders, even like the spectators. And so this was wild, man. Like I did 50, 60, 70 batteries in 3 days in 90-degree heat. In like the super stressful, right? Live broadcast is ridiculously stressful. Flying around athletes whose career is on the line is incredibly stressful. And so it was it was as much a game of like maintaining like my body and my brain to be as, you know, in as good shape as I possibly could so that I could fly good FPV as it was anything else. And I've not necessarily had that before. So that was a cool thing to kind of go through. I'm laughing because I just used the word cool for that. I'm shot. My feet are fucked up. My ankles hurt like hell. Like the fronts of my ankles for some reason hurt like shit. My brain is broken. But boy, did we put on a hell of a show. we put on a hell of a broadcast. And there were mistakes. There were, shots that I missed. There were dives that I mistimed and came down in front and then had to turn around all janky like. There was a situation where like I had the Tulsa sign all framed up perfectly, and then the director's like, start your move now, and I pushed like maybe 1 degree too much roll in. And by the time he took and I had to make a correction, and of course he took my camera as soon as I made that correction. So it's like the shot is like me making a correction and then going back into it, and it's like, oh, fucking A. But welcome to live broadcast, my friends. Like that, it is a game of damage control. Like how few mistakes. Like, yes, do the best possible job that you can, but really focus on making as few mistakes as possible. And it's a really neat balance of those two things. TV studios where like they're working together every single day, they can get it down to a science where they're not making mistakes, and it's just like, how good can we make this? Live sports broadcasts, there's and again, there's teams that work together, right? Like the team that works with the Atlanta Falcons or whatever. They're working together over and over and over again in the same location, right? They can really lock it down. This kind of stuff where at 4 a.m. a crew sets up, a crew arrives in a fucking street and puts 8,000 feet of fiber op cable down, and like God knows how many metal barricades and fucking start finish line and sparkling thingies and like the TV truck is rolling. Like that is damage control all day, baby. It is like make as few mistakes as you can, and away we go. Bimo says, welcome to the addiction of the super powerful story arcs of pro cycling, everyone. CiottiFPV nailing what makes it so special. Thank you, dude. FizzPV says Bob Euchre, LOL. Oh my god, I haven't heard the name Bob Euchre in forever. When I was growing up, Bob Euchre was a name all over the place. It was baseball, that's right. Bob Euchre was I think we can say he's the most famous baseball announcer of all time. Yeah, Brad is absolutely the Bob Euchre of cycling in America, at least. There might be a guy in Europe that's even more famous and seasoned than Brad. Flurk in the Burke with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, dude. He says BetaFPV Matrix and Happy 2G4 is still the best 5-in-1 choice. I am rapidly falling out of love with the BetaFPV AIOs. Because they keep going full rainbow on me. When more and more, the more I crash, the more that they go full rainbow, and you have to unplug and replug the rig to get it to give you video again. So I don't know if I can really recommend any of the current beta FPV, and it's all of them. It's not just the Matrix. It's not just the Air. It's not just the 4-in-1 or the 5-in-1. It's all of them. So I think I'm kind of over the beta FPV AIOs. Happy Model 2G4 is absolutely the best for a regular build. For these Meteor 65 Pro Ultra Floaty indoor builds, it's the Happy Model Mobile 6 2024 AIO that is the one that I think you should get. Moss1 says, nice footage. Thank you so much, dude. Craig says, great job. Sounds like fun. It was indeed. Benny Bravo says, I don't really do tricks. I just do stuff. Also, CiottiFPV. Tinsel Terrible says, just jinx the QX7. It's okay, man. I have 3 QX7s. FizzPV says, I think rally pace note style comms with second op. Yeah, it's really like communicating. I was actually talking to the guys about it. It's just about having it. You just have as few syllables as possible, and you just get on the same page. So left, right, up, down, fast, slow, single syllable, super clear. None of those words sound like another word, right? Like there's generators, there's the crowd, there's the PA, right? So you pick words that are short and that don't, the military alphabet, right? Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. You cannot mistake those 3 words. You get down into like whiskey for W. That's 2 syllables. And it's like, why not pick another W word that's only 1 syllable? I assume that there are none that don't sound like another word, right? And so that's sort of the name of the game. You don't, and I'm sure Rally Pace Notes, those guys went through the same kind of thing. But yeah, that's the main thought process there. Short as you can, clear and obvious, and then doesn't sound like any of the other words. Those are the 3 main things there for, super effective communication. Schreger says, thinking of a setup to fly office park type spots, probably going to end up 04 Pro, Express LRS, pass multiple walls, need good penetration. Any recommendations for a more durable 5-inch frame, maybe around the 150 gram mark, maybe a slight bit higher? I don't look at 5-inch frames that are that heavy, but at this point, 5-inch frame development is at a point where you can pretty much just close your eyes and point to a 5-inch frame. If it's still being made, it's going to be really good. So yeah, it's hard to find a bad 5-inch frame in stock anywhere at this point. So you'll be fine. Pretty much whatever you pick, you could pick something that looks cool. You could literally just look at all the 5-inch frames and pick the coolest looking one, and it would probably be like 98% as good as all the other ones. Strugger also says, real estate fly-throughs, 2.5-inch Cinewoop, a DJI V1, wants to know if 04 Pro is worth it. If he's trying to get off of an external HD camera, 04 Pro is great. If he's still going to run an external HD camera, there's absolutely no reason for 04 Pro. It's going to actually perform worse because it's a little bit heavier. So yeah. FizzPV says autocross and old VWs. Yeah, the old Volkswagens are notorious at autocross. Striker also says he wants to know if it's possible to have a small 2-inch setup on 04 Pro with no action cam be good enough for professional stuff. I think, and many other people think, that the 04 Pro is plenty for professional stuff. There are times that the 04 Pro actually looks better than GoPros because it does a little bit better in low light. And yeah, there's loads of 2-inch setups that carry 04 Pro. So yeah, absolutely. Andrew Taylor says, you just need a bike. Doesn't have to be expensive or high tech. Just get on and ride. Yeah, I think it's at my parents' house. I still have my old Raleigh mountain bike that when I lived in Charleston, I one day was like, I'm gonna get back in shape and a bicycle, and I rode it like 2 days in a row, and then my crotch melted and that was that. But yeah, at some point I'll go on Facebook Marketplace and get $100 road bike and dive in. Maybe I'll last 3 days this time. Andrew Taylor says, "Oh no, we got that." My back is starting to really hurt. Adam Weston says, "RC hand launch gliders. What about them?" BMO says, "Next year is the..." Oh my God. Next year is the 20th anniversary for Tulsa Tough. Jesus, they have been doing it for 20 years. Oh my God, that's awesome. Next year I'm going to be on 04 Pro. I'm going to have fucking Nomad. Yeah, dude, that's going to be cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing the difference, because I think they'll do the same locations, and it'll certainly be just as popular, so the noise floor will be just as messy next year as it was, if not even worse. It'll be really, really, really cool to see how much better ELRS is than Crossfire. And man, being able to have 04 next year and record DVR in 4K and have like that little bit of extra 04 range. Ooh, be able to put ND filters on. Come on, yo. That's going to be great. Apache Smoke Wounded Snipers in the house. What's up, homie? Denzel the Sniper. Denzel the Terrible says, "My 7.5-inch rig has 3008 1500 kV. It's a monster." Yeah, 10 points to whoever can find me the biggest 16 by 16 mount motor. I need it. Apache Smoke says, "So I can take a holiday break too. No time stamp needed." Yeah, that's true. Cole Powers says, "That jello-y rig needs some of those sunglasses that change when you go inside. Transition lenses." Oh man, yeah, that'd be cool. I've never seen that. How the hell does... Those are called transitions, right? ND filter transition lenses? I don't know. Why are there not ND filters that are built off of the photochromic transition thing? Okay, so that's what I would search for. Photochromic. You're not missing much. Hold on. It's a Reddit post. Oh, fuck you. Photochromic ND filter. Does that exist? No. My guess is going to be that they're not color accurate. Oh, yeah, right. Welding masks do that, too. A couple problems in terms of photography. Biggest problems. The delay in changing. That's right. They are slow. That's right. They are slow to change. Yep. Oh, my God. A minute? They take a minute? Yeah, that totally won't work. Obviously won't work for us. Huh. Well, there it is. Mystery solved. Denzel the Terrible says, "A good-looking quad flies 17% better. It's a known science." There you go. Mark Johnson with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, "I need a low camera mount like your HD01S build, the little strip outside the ducts. I want to mount 04 camera there. I don't have a 3D printer." Luckily for you, Mark, on my Etsy store, I'll be selling the Batwing mounts very soon. At the moment, on my Etsy store, there is a 3D printed mount, so the pricing is up there, and you can leave notes on Etsy orders. So, I'll be back Monday of next week. Feel free to order whenever you want. So it's a McStinky mount on my Etsy store. Here, ready? So there it is. Any of these, it doesn't matter which McStinky. Order one or two or whatever. Pick, color doesn't matter. Order however many you want, and then in your order note, just tell me exactly what you want. If you're not clear, I'll message you back. And yeah, I have a whole bunch. I have the full rainbow of colors. I very specifically meant to bring these over. I have different up tilts. I have like 0 degrees, 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees. I have all these colors. So let me know what color. Let me know what up tilt you want. And yeah, if there's any mount that you want, you know, you're buying the filament and my time. And so if there's a mount on Thingiverse that you want, I can hook you up. I have a whole bunch that are already printed, a whole bunch of Bri-Brain mounts. Bad and B-Bird and I are working on the ultimate Bri-Brain mount, which isn't done quite yet. But yeah, there's some cool 3D printed stuff coming up. And yeah, this is the pricing on 3D printed small mounts will be exactly what these McStinkies are. So yeah, just leave a note, let me know what you want, and I'll hook you up, brother. Thank you for the support, my friend. Cloudhopper with a $10 super chat. He says, "What's your favorite 35mm prop now?" It depends on the motor shaft. For a 1mm motor shaft, it's the Gemfan 35mm S. For a 1.5mm motor shaft, there's only one option, which is the HQ 1.4 by something. It's the only option. Those are both phenomenal propellers. If you're on a 1mm motor shaft and you want more grip, HQ does have that 1.4 by whatever the hell it is, 1.2 maybe by 3 in a 1mm motor shaft. But that prop for me, the fact that they make it in 1.5mm motor shafts is like a no-brainer if you want the ultimate indoor super durable kind of setup. The combo is Meteor 65 Pro frame, whatever the Happy Model AIO is that comes in the Module 6 2024, Weebleed FPV 0702 32,500 kV motors with the 1.5mm motor shaft, those HQ props, and then whatever the hell you want to do for a camera and canopy. Trying to find where I was at here so I don't miss any chat comments. Woo! C-Joe says that watch is rad. Thank you, dude. This is so I kind of don't want to tell you guys about this, but because you'll buy them on me, but I will because I don't. There's plenty of them. eBay's the spot for freestyle watches. So if you search for Shark Freestyle watch on eBay, there are a shitload of different color combinations. I think my collection is at 5, and I have not spent more than 30. I think $30 has been my absolute maximum on these. I have this one, this black and yellow one, with a watch band from a company that makes motorsport themed watch bands, and it's the John Player Special theme, so it's black, then gold, then black, then gold, then black, and it matches really well with this yellow and black here. I've got this one is super cool. This is one of my favorites. It's got like this cool teal and then this brown. This like kind of matches everything. And then this is just their like regular clip strap. And then I've got a black and blue one that's pretty similar to this, but it's got a black bezel here instead of the white bezel. I lied. My favorite one is I have a purple, white, seafoam green. Where the hell is it? There's almost always one for sale. So do this search on eBay and then save the search. And now they'll send you an email every day with the new Shark Freestyle watches that pop up. And you can get them really cheap, man. I scored one of these for $15. Oh, I have one that's all black, like this one. This has a little bit of orange writing. It's cool, man. Sometimes like vintage ones will pop up and shit from like the 80s, and they'll have like a different font. It's kind of slick. I want to find the white, purple, seafoam green one. It's just the coolest color combo. This one, I always see this one, and I'm always really close to buying this one, but it's too similar to the other ones. Oh, I haven't seen that color combo before. Purple and blue, that's dope. There's not like a ton up here at a time. I don't like this. Shark has made other style freestyle watches. I don't like them. I only like this. Their one main one that they still make. This is their old school design. It's got like this cool red, orange, yellow thing. I'll get one. I don't like this shape, but this cool. I want to get one at some point that has this cool red, orange, yellow. That red, orange, yellow is an old school TRD color combo. TRD being Toyota Racing Design. Back in the days of stadium trucks, I used to love watching the indoor stadium truck races where with like Ivan the Iron Man Stewart. Yeah, those old Toyota trucks were white, and then the yellow, orange, red, and it's just such an iconic like motorsport color combo. Yeah, they don't have my actual favorite one here that I'm seeing, but yeah, the Shark Freestyle watches are super cool and they're super cheap. And it's just like I don't know. It's a really cool throwback thing for me. And you push a button and it lights up blue, and you're like, it's like and they're waterproof. One of the cool, I don't know why this is such a cool moment, but last year, the year before, we were on a little vacation up in the mountains, and they had a hot tub, and we were in the hot tub, and I wanted to see what time it was, and I pushed the button, it lit up blue underwater, and like the hot tub had like blue LEDs in it, and it was just, I actually took a picture. It was really cool. It was a really cool combination of colors. Random inside baseball story. Cloudhopper says, I've missed a lot of the live streams, but in watching the reruns, I got the 65 Pro bug and built one up with 26,000 kV using 2G4. How'd you use a 2G4? Direct soldered Tiny Hawk Run Cam Nano 3. I thought the 2G... Oh, you direct soldered the camera. I would think that the 2G4 would still hit the ducts. Does it not hit the ducts a little bit? The direct soldered camera makes a lot of sense, because then the farthest out point on the 2G4 is the camera plug, and I believe there are pads so that if you can do a 2G4 in the 65 Pro frame and then you just have to direct solder the camera, that's pretty cool. Although, to be honest, the Meteor, the Mobula 6 2024 AIO is a lot lighter than the 2G4. And one of the big things to me about this 1.4 inch prop build is trying to get as much float as possible. And so dropping weight on the flight controller is a good way to do that. The 2G4 is going to give you better quality video because it's heavier and it has more capacitors. But yeah, for the ultimate in flight performance, I think it's the Mobula 6 2024 AIO. I gotta figure out what that AIO is called. Cole Powers says Phonetic Alphabet. That's it. That's what it's called. Hooked on it. Good call. Striker says FPVCycle Sonicare looks so good. Frame looks baller, but I don't think there will be 04 support like ever. Bob is I actually just talked to him before this gig. He is insanely busy with his dental practice, so don't expect 04 mounts for any FPVCycle stuff anytime soon, unfortunately. He sent me a prototype of the Sonicare years ago, and I didn't like where the battery straps were. I know this sounds like a really insane thing, but it's like a stupid thing, but it's actually really important. The battery straps were just, they wouldn't go back far enough for me to push the battery back far enough to offset the weight of the GoPro. But I'm also using very small batteries. I'm using little 6S 1050s because I build Lite. If you were like a 6S 1300 or even 1500, they would probably fit totally fine on there. Yeah, I don't know why I said end. Cole Power says maybe next year you'll be in open. Oh God, yeah, right. There's bad. A morning from the UK. Just got into work. Nice, dude. Cole Power says we went down a rabbit hole of variable ND filters. If you read the non-highlighted chat, nice. Cjo says I feel like they wouldn't transition fast enough. You guys beat me to it, but I didn't see. Bad says the new DJI drones have auto ND filters. Guessing it's like the photochromic lenses, but electric activated. Lots of high-end camera systems have built-in auto ND filters. I have no idea how they work. My guess is that they physically put an ND filter in front of the in front of the sensor, but I could totally be wrong. FizzPV says, what drying / storage for your TPU? I do this like perfectly sized Ziploc bag with silica inside, and then I have one of those like $25 oven drying things from Amazon. So when I'm ready to run them, I put them into that. I let that run for like 5 hours, and then when I'm done with them, I put them in these guys. I'm sure it's not the. I'm sure this is not the best setup, but it's good enough. And I've never had any of the weird stuff that people talk about with wet TPU, like popping and crackling and all that shit. I do notice a slight difference. I notice a difference in the stringiness. If I'm impatient and I just want to print something really quick, I'll turn the dryer on, and I always give it like at least a half an hour, but it doesn't seem to do anything in a half an hour, because when I do those, when I get antsy and I do a print, it'll have a little bit of stringing. I just take a little tiny torch, and that just knocks the stringing out, and it's fine. But I can definitely tell if I let that dryer run for 8 hours, 5 hours rather, and then I print something, there's significantly less stringing. Cloudhopper says the 2G4 clears the 65 Pro frame when you direct solder. My overall weight is 17.8. That's really light for that heavy of an AIO. That's impressive. Teddy, no. Last comment of the live stream from Striker. He says, oh yeah, I use SMC 1600s because I use smaller batteries to get super hot and I damage them. There you go, friends. Welcome back and goodbye. Andrew Taylor says, variable ND and Sony's cameras are liquid crystal. Get the fuck out of here. That's ridiculous. That's super cool. Yeah, I'm out for a week. Sorry, guys, but I gotta hang out with the family. And this is actually a great time for me to unplug a little bit. Although I am going to be doing a bunch of editing. I have all this Tulsa Tough footage that I want to try to get out because everybody's watching it right now. So I am going to work a bunch. But yeah, this will be nice to recharge a little bit. This is, we live in a very difficult time right now. And I've been struggling pretty bad this year, mentally and, I don't know, spiritually, I guess. But hey, what are we going to do? Thanks for hanging, people. I'll see you in 1 week. Hit me on Instagram if you need anything, Discord, whatever. I'm not totally unplugging. I'm just, going away, to do fun things all day. So be good. Have fun. I'll see you in a week. Here's more footage that you've already seen. No, I'll play. Yeah, no. Here. Here's what the Insta360 Go 2 has a square sensor, and it looks super funny. This is what it looks like straight out of the camera before you put it into their software. Here you go. This will make everybody dizzy for a minute. See you guys in a week. Bye-bye.